I think it's important to know that the ball was not dropped. We've been there numerous times and understand what's been going on, and we may need to change some things, and I agree with that.
El Paso Mayor Oscar Leeser insists that the city did not drop the ball when it comes to a troubled hotel that was allowed to operate without the proper permits. City leaders hosted a news conference today to discuss the Gateway Hotel, more than a week after bombshell allegations were made in an injunction that forced the hotel's closure. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being with us. I'm Robert Olguin. We have team coverage of what was discussed today. Harrison Parker, live downtown near the Gateway Hotel with an exclusive interview with El Paso's new city manager. But first, we go to Selena Madrid, who was at today's news conference where the city addressed how it handled the Gateway Hotel.
KFOX 14 has been following this story for weeks. The big question on everyone's mind is how in the world was the Gateway Hotel in the heart of downtown El Paso operating without a permit for 6 years, in addition to criminal and gang activity being reported? I took those concerns and questions straight to city leaders today at this press conference that was held here at City Hall, and here's what I found out.
How is that overlooked for so long? Who dropped the ball here? How did this get overlooked?
We didn't drop the ball. We've been very involved. The ball was not dropped. We've been there numerous times and understand what's been going on, and we may need to change some things, and I agree with that, but there are ordinances in the city that are being followed.
They followed the laws, and the laws require us to work with somebody if they're actively doing the repairs to the facility and they're working on their corrective action plan so that they can meet those requirements. The calls, the number of calls to one facility, if we look across that, we have that number of calls to numerous facilities, whether it's a grocery store, a Walmart, a shopping center. That number of calls doesn't set any red flags for us.
Is there any other hotels operating in a capacity like this?
Not that I'm aware of.
We get a lot of people from out of town here to visit our home. Should residents be on high alert that this is something that they need to be worried about if they come check into another hotel?
We don't have any other open cases that going on in hotels. We have some of the highest occupancies in our hotels here in El Paso from across the state. And so with that, I would hope that they continue to feel safe. We have our law enforcement, we have our inspection teams, they're out there. We pride ourselves in being a safe city.
So if you'd like to take a look at the full press conference that was held today here at City Hall, you can head on over to our website, kfoxtv.com, and click on that story, and you can check that out there for yourself. I'm reporting from downtown El Paso, Selena Madrid, back to you.
All right, Selena, thank you. While the city insists that it was monitoring the situation at the Gateway Hotel, the hotel was allowed to operate with lapsed permits nonetheless, despite complaints of unsafe living conditions. KFOX 14 News at 5's Harrison Parker live in downtown El Paso after speaking exclusively with the city's new city manager about what can be done to prevent this situation in the future.
That's right. As you heard in that press conference, the city's still looking for some way to make sure this does not happen again in the future. We also spoke with the new city manager about what she thinks needs to happen to make sure, or if the Gateway Hotel here wants to reopen.
We immediately checked, as you heard from our building official, are there any other things in the queue that, may be slipping through the cracks?
City Manager Dion Mack is concerned there could be other buildings like the Gateway, while Tony De La Cruz of the Planning and Inspection Department for the city described their history with the hotel.
In these cases, what we're looking at is a lot of property maintenance issues that were neglected by the property owner. Through our enforcement and inspection actions, we were ensuring that they were bringing up those components, but they were deteriorating at a much faster rate than the owner was keeping up with.
Mack says the city needs to find ways to better track developments like that at the Gateway.
I think what we certainly learned through this process is we need to ensure that everybody who might come in contact with the issue or concern throughout the city has a way to funnel that into some central process or place where we can then look at it at a higher level to make sure we're not seeing a trend going on.
De La Cruz says they're committed to better communication between relevant departments, though details on that are not clear. De La Cruz says it's their obligation to continue working with owners if they're making progress on repairs, but for the Gateway Hotel to reopen, Max says she needs more than that.
I would like to see, and this personally, it is not by code, for everything to be fixed. Before you talk about people coming into the facility, not having a piecemeal approach, which I think, compromises the way that people live in a facility.
Well, we're pushing for details on what exactly the city will change. We'll keep you updated as that story develops. I'm Harrison Parker reporting from downtown El Paso, KFOX 14 News at 5.
All right, Harrison, thank you. So for the first time, we're also hearing from El Paso Police Chief Peter Pacillas about his agency's response to the situation at the Gateway Hotel. He says code violations are not the police department's responsibility.
We look at the problem, and sometimes it's not the police issue, but our PAR officers, our patrol officers, our supervisors look at who are the right people to bring into these situations so we can start working to rectify the problem. We are not in the business of closing down businesses. We want people to comply with the laws and follow the ordinances that the city has set. So we bring in the different players and different departments, or if we have to, outside agencies to go through this. So this has been a process with the county attorney's office building a case on this hotel.
All right, so earlier this week, the head of Texas DPS said that El Paso was ground zero for the gang Tren de Aragua, and they referenced the Gateway Hotel. So today, the chief was asked if El Paso has a gang problem. He said that every city has gangs. We asked if he knew about the exact number of Tren de Aragua gang members who were at the hotel. He says identifying a specific gang isn't easy.
There's about 8 criteria that have to be looked at. And somebody has to meet 2 of the criterias unless they admit in open court that they are a gang member. The difficulty with this gang that is coming up through Venezuela is they are a sophisticated network, and that we cannot legally say that there is TDA in there because they're not meeting the criteria as set by state law.
So Chief Pacillas referenced state law there and the criteria laid out by the state of Texas. A person has to meet at least 2 of the 8 on the criteria in order to be considered part of a gang. Here's a look at what some of those 8 are. It's either self-admission by the individual, or ID themselves as a gang member, or corroborated as a street gang. There has to be evidence of frequenting an area as a gang member, or arrested or taken into custody as a gang member, or being arrested with gang dress, tattoos, hand symbols. Visiting gang members other than family, or use of technology to recruit new members. Now, despite what the police chief said there, in the county attorney's original lawsuit seeking to close the hotel, the evidence included sworn statements from 2 El Paso police officers who said they spotted Tren de Aragua gang members at the hotel. For example, on July 1st, El Paso police officer Donicio Alvarez said officers discovered several Venezuelans that had tattoo identifiers of Tren de Aragua, a gang affiliated with Venezuela. Officer observed males walking throughout the hotel with tattoos associated with the criminal organization known as Tren de Aragua. Overall, management is not attempting to control the conduct of guests and is negligently allowing gang activity to infiltrate the area. Then on August 23rd, Officer Samuel Medina said, "Through my training and experience, I can easily say there's a very high level of drug activity happening from drug addicts squatting on the condemned floors. There should be concern due to the establishment and the rise of the Venezuelan criminal organization Tren de Aragua at the Gateway Hotel. We discovered several Venezuelans have the tattoo identifiers of Tren de Aragua." So, contradicting a bit of what the police chief said there. To read our entire lawsuit, head over to the website kfoxtv.com.